Alright, so for the last piece for this class, we're going to look at Audre Lorde once again, the uses of anger, women responding to racism. We're coming full circle here. So, some of the themes in this piece are listening and difference. Lorde is looking at the ways in which her anger has been feared and denied by white women, and she's thinking about how it can be sublimated into something useful and productive for liberation. So anger can be a tool for doing the work that she's discussed in the Master's Tools. So what's wrong with the way things are right now? Anger is often associated with hostility and defining the sort of enemy lines, right? So when we're faced with our anger or someone else's anger toward us, we often think of it as a sort of end of open communication or dialogue between two people. So this is what Lorde is talking about when she's using the example of the white woman who says, "Tell me how you feel, but don't say it too harshly or I cannot hear you." So anger is also often met with silence. This silence works to reinforce the blocking of this dialogue. So when we meet anger with silence, that keeps the problem going. We can either silence our own anger or we can silence other women's anger, but both of these are unproductive and work to halt progress for liberation. Furthermore, anger is often met with guilt. When we feel guilty, we aren't productive. It causes us to sulk and feel hopeless about these bad situations. She says, guilt is another form of objectification, because when I feel guilty about another woman's anger toward me, I turn that situation onto my own feelings, and I change the focus away from the woman's experience and onto my own. So how can anger be productive? If we listen and learn from each other's rage, we can work together as allies. This is what she means when she says, "It is in the painful process of this translation that we identify who are our allies with whom we have grave differences and who are our genuine enemies." And she also says that anger is an excavation of honesty. So we use it to express our most painful reactions to how other people have damaged us. So this excavation of honesty is a discussion of how we've all been individual agents of systematic oppression and marginalization at some point in time. Furthermore, it can be used to open up discussions about our differences. But this can only happen when we accept our own anger and the anger of others without this guilt or silencing. So the important points about anger: it's been construed as this bad thing, but that's born out of the same system that construes difference as a bad thing. So again, this is really closely linked with the Master's Tools piece, right? But in reality, anger can be used as a bridge instead of as a wall. We can use anger to understand difference and move forward in coalition together. And this is when Lorde says, anger between peers births change. So that's it for this piece from Lorde. I want you to think about some ways that you've used anger, and maybe ways that you've used anger in really productive ways like this, and have done it counterproductively, like some of the examples that she's considered. And that closes out our last lesson for the course.